My name is Kwabena Chenchen, but many thanks for joining us here on News Today to our very first story. There's an easy calm at Crowform in the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, following renewed protests there by residents after an alleged attempt by the police to cover up the murder of a 22-year-old. The victim, Oseiteria, is reported to have been beaten and tasered to death by some policemen last Thursday. But an autopsy report released yesterday attributes the death of the 22-year-old to natural causes, something the residents of Crowform see as a deliberate attempt to cover up the acts perpetrated by some police officers there last week, hence the protests. The police have, meanwhile, arrested 3 persons in connection with this morning's protest. Kwesi Debra has more.
The residents started demonstrating, that's an angry youth started demonstration around 7:30 this morning, where they blocked the principal roads and they burnt about 3 heavy tractors. But the police arrived here around 9 o'clock and have so far arrested about 3 protesters. They've dispersed them now, but they're standing around and just complaining that they don't really understand the action of the police. 3 heavy truck tires, not vehicles. Yeah, okay. Truck tires. They are in demonstration. So that's but the police have arrived to calm them down. They've dispersed the crowd right now. 3
of the protesters have been arrested.
Yeah, they have been arrested so far. They're trying to say that the police are wrong in this matter because they think they sense a foul play in the whole matter. And they believe they have the right to demonstrate against the police, and they don't understand what is going on. So that is their main concern.
And it's coming at the back of that autopsy report that was released yesterday.
Yes. Which came out that the young man died as a result of natural death, but they don't understand. They think it was. The young man died as a result of the beatings that he sustained during the police attack. They say the police tried to cover the officers and try to bring out the truth of the matter.
We'll be bringing you the very latest on this once you're able to establish contact with our correspondent who is currently monitoring events at Crowform as we speak. But the update is that 3 people have been arrested following this morning's protests there. But away from that, and still staying with issues of security, and the opposing NPP is accusing the police of a cover-up in the investigations into the discovery of arms at its headquarters last year. On the dawn of 22nd November 2015, police seized AK-47 rifles and machetes from the NPP headquarters at Asalam Down. Now, more than 6 months after the incident, the police CID say it is yet to make any headway with investigations. The NPP says it is disappointed with the slow pace of the investigations. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has more.
4 AK-47 rifles and 4 machetes in a sack were retrieved by the police personnel who stormed the NPP office around 1 a.m. that day. The officers were called in by some so-called retired military men who had gone to the office to, in their words, take over. The NPP has insisted the state security apparatus brought in the arms to implicate the party security personnel, the Invincible Forces. CID boss Prosper Ablot tells Joy News the police are yet to trace the source of the guns.
The case is under investigation. That is all I can tell you.
Okay. Yeah. Any indications on who and who have been questioned in connection with the house? Will we see an end to it?
No, it isn't all the time that we have to bring out information to the public domain. When we are ready to go public, we'll come out.
The claim is that this incident happened sometime last year. It's been 5-6 months. You spoke earlier about confidence in the service.
A long time to carry out. Investigations take a long time to carry out, especially if when the arms were not discovered in the possession of somebody. It will take a long time to go. And they are not arms that are registered or are allowed, the importation of which is allowed in the country. You understand? So they are not arms that the licensed dealers deal with.
So more like they were illegal arms that were found at the NPP headquarters?
They were illegal arms, and they are assault rifles. So we'll have to take our time to investigate.
Have you been able to trace the sources where it may have come from, for example? Yet?
No, not yet.
Have you questioned any NPP officials in connection?
No, I said you leave it at that.
Okay.
I told you we are investigating. Definitely we've questioned people, so you leave it at that. We are investigating.
Some of the retired soldiers were put before court for unlawfully entering the premises, but no one has been charged over the unlawful possession of arms. NPP's Director of Communications, Nana Komya, says they suspect a cover-up.
The NPP is very disappointed. Look, There was a gentleman who actually was saying publicly that he was part of the organization of that raid at the NPP head office. I'm sure you remember. There was a gentleman who actually came out. The impunity. So when the police, almost a year after, say they cannot complete their investigations, it deepens the suspicion that the party has that whole raid was orchestrated with involvement of people in high places. It deepens that suspicion because arms were found. Where are the arms? How did they come in? The people who were supposed to have taken the arms, what have they done about it? What have they said about it? Obviously, the guns or ammunition had been brought from outside and planted because the security, the 2 or 3 security people at the head office were put in a room and locked. And then they were brought out to come and identify guns. So obviously, the guns were brought outside and planted. I mean, this should be an open and shut case. So when 6-7 months after the police say they haven't finished investigation, it depends the perception that there is some attempt to cover up. We're hoping that is not true.
I asked COP Ablo specifically whether they have interrogated any party officials in connection with this. His response was that yes, but he refused to disclose who the specific party officials they've interrogated are. Do you know anything about any party officials who've been interrogated in connection with this?
You know, there's all kinds of suspicion and even perception that there could be some party people behind the raid as part of the effort to create the perception that the NPP was not stable. We believe that
persons in the Afoko camp.
Sorry?
Persons in the Afoko camp.
I don't have any proof of that, but it is very clear to some of us that this was orchestrated by some people in the party who wanted to create the impression that there was some turbulence in the NPP. And so if the police have spoken to party officials, it's possible.
Let's return to that earlier story I brought you about some protests in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, by residents there at Krofom following the murder of a 22-year-old. Well, the residents have concerns with an autopsy report released yesterday that suggested that this gentleman, whom they claim was beaten to death by police officers, died of natural causes, according to that very autopsy report. Let's return to Kumasi and now speak to Kwesi Deborah, who joins us via phone with a lot more details as to what is currently happening there now. Well, we do know that 3 persons have been arrested in connection with the protests this morning. But let's get more from Kwesi Deborah, who's joining me now via phone. So, Kwesi, can you tell us the latest in Krofom as we speak?
Well, what I can say is that there's not total calm, but there's a bit of calm around. But just that they are thrown into a state of disarray. That's what I can say. And earlier on, some of the residents were pelting stones at the police and also fired tear gas in return. But now I can tell you that everything is quite a bit of a calm. Just that.
Who these 3 people are, for instance?
Can you come again?
I'm asking whether or not we know whether these 3 persons who are arrested have been released and or whether they are still in custody, and even who are they in the first place.
Oh, okay. For information, one more person has been arrested. A person has been arrested also. So make it 4 right now. 4 persons have been arrested by the police, but the identities are not known right now.
Right. Kwesi Deborah, many thanks for that update. And that was my colleague from my sister station, Love FM in Kumasi, bringing us updates from Krofom in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. Now, the latest on that is that the 4 with protests at Krofom earlier today. We'll be bringing a lot more on this in subsequent bulletins, particularly on our news and news analysis program, The Pulse, which airs at 3 p.m. on your Joy News channel. Now, it's the main drain channeling volumes of water from the capital into the sea. The choked Odo drain partly blamed for the deadly floods last year, was to be desilted to ensure that it collects more water and prevents flooding in the capital. Now, although the Accra Metropolitan Assembly removed some amounts of soil and trash from the drain, there's concern that very little has been done amid fears of possible flooding. Now, in the following report, Joy News' Justice Beidou takes a tour of the concrete waterway.
To Emefa Agbematu. At age 26, Emefa was a promising midwife working at the Ridge Hospital in Accra. But Emefa's life was tragically cut short. Emefa was one of more than 200 people killed in the flood disaster in Accra on June 3 last year.
Every time she comes that, she will work in the town. She like to go to village. When they help them, give birth to them, they will come and give her plantain and vegetables. So she like village. She want to help the villages. That is the MFA's plan.
I have come to the Volta regional town of Tove Agave to meet her family as they recount their loss.
MFA gone away, it give shake to the family, to whole family, and everybody. MFA is a good girl.
Back in the heart of Accra, at the site where the disaster struck a year ago, men are hard at work. This is the $1 million project seeking to partly distill one of Accra's major drains. The thing that caused the carnage here a year ago was mainly the result of gutters choked with rubbish. Accra's Kwame Nkrumah Circle, as has always been the case every other rainy season, got flooded. An explosion in a petrol station right across this drain engulfed hundreds of people who were running for their lives, killing several of them, and many others injured in the process. Not much seems to have changed over the last 1 year. What makes the situation even scary this time is that the country's disaster management organization now says it is broke and would not be able to respond in case of a similar disaster. The government now says it needs at least 600 million cedis to entirely desilt Dodo and Kole lagoons, two of the city's biggest waterways. But the attitude of dumping waste in gutters in Ghana hasn't changed. The drains are still left uncovered, and the rains would be in. Management is one of the biggest problems with Accra's drainage system.
My name is Ekuyecha Nkrumah. I am an environmental technologist working with Chekora Ventures.
Ghana's laws currently do not encourage recycling, making an already bad waste situation worse. Ekuyecha Nkrumah is one of the budding young entrepreneurs working to change the situation.
A drain can be constructed such that it's covered, but in the instance where there's a cleanup exercise going on or something, a cover can be removed so that it can be cleaned out occasionally and then it can be covered back. This will prevent a lot of the litter from getting into the drains in the first place so that the water is always free to flow. That's one aspect. Another aspect is the behavior of citizens themselves. There needs to be a lot of behavior change, and many people are of the school of thought that the best way to change people's behavior is through education. But I think we tend to neglect the importance and the impact of law enforcement. When someone is aware of the law but has never been punished by the law, the person has a choice whether they abide by the law or not.
As the rains set in, not just the people who lost relatives last June will be scared of the memories from yesteryear, but also ordinary Ghanaians worried that the country is yet to learn anything from its worst natural disaster of all time. Justice Baidu, Joy News, Accra.
You're watching news today here. Actually, with a lot more stories, don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today to some more stories. Now, and authorities of the Electricity Company of Ghana are today appearing before the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament over investigations into the ECG's billing system set to be responsible for the astronomical increment in electricity tariffs. Members of the committee and the ECG could not come to a decision on the billing concerns after several hours of meeting yesterday. Now, also appearing before the committee is the Energy Commission and the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. Adam Mutawakilu is a member of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament.
That they have some difficulties. There are other details that when we finish with our meeting them and finding out much more, I think we'll be able to come out clearly. Now we are still in the process, and today we are meeting ECG, PURC, Energy Commission, and Public Utilities Workers Union. So it is very clear that the tariffs are killer tariffs, most of them, and we need to actually do proper investigation. What? And ECG has admitted that the new software had a challenge. They want to pay visit to where they calibrate their meters and go more into India, where are they supplied from.
Do they do it in Ghana? You want to go to the manufacturing?
It's here.
Okay.
You know, when they are produced, they come here, they calibrate and adjust it to our standards. So we need to know where they were procured, what are the processes it has gone through to get to the final consumer. It's very, very critical.
Okay.
Well, let's stay in Parliament and its activities. And Member of Parliament for Efutu, Alexander Fenyomarkin, is questioning the issuance of a $100 million guarantee by the GNPC for car power. Now, the House is debating the GNPC program of activities for 2016, as well as the State Corporation's decision to allocate monies to other entities, even when it's in dire need of funds. Elton Bobo is in Parliament and joins me now on phone with more. So, Elton, tell us a lot more about these concerns being raised in Parliament.
Well, Tanzania is about the for this year. But GMPC is saying that it will require some 2.6 billion status before it can adequately undertake its plan of activities for the year 2016. They want to undertake more exploration. They want to drill more wells. They want to construct a new head office building here in Accra, and they want to renovate the existing one. They want to undertake the construction of a national emergency response unit to deal with disasters and all that. Now, this is contained in their work plan of activities for 2016. But some members of Parliament are questioning some decisions or some expenditure in the document presented to Parliament for approval. For instance, in the document, we are told that GMPC wants to spend an amount of 115.6 million Ghana cedis for the construction of its new head office here in Accra. In the same document, it is saying that it will use an amount of 40 million Ghana cedis to renovate its existing head office at Tema, that's the Petroleum House. GMPC, according to this particular statement, is also advancing some amount of money to some state institutions for their operations, while the corporation is going to the open market to source an amount of $350 million to close the funding gap in its plan of activities for 2016. So some members of Parliament have been arguing that the corporation appears not to be running effectively, and they are demanding more details in the work plan of activities before they will go ahead and approve it. What happened is that the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament has, suspended approval of this, work order for GMPC so that the Minister of Petroleum can have adequate time to respond to all the concerns raised by members of Parliament before the approval can be done. But the minority
Utilities and Regulatory Commission, as well as the Energy Commission, are all supposed to appear before Parliament today. What is to happen today, later on?
Well, that meeting, I'm told, will take place after the adjournment of the House. So we are looking at somewhere after 2 p.m. before that meeting will take place. But earlier on, I saw some officials of the ECG, PRC, the Energy Commission, all in. The impression is that they are ready to, appear before the committee. But that meeting will take place after 2.
Okay, right. Elton, many thanks for that update. And that was Parliamentary Correspondent Elton Brober bringing us the very latest from Parliament there. Away from that now, and army worms have invaded maize farms in Somanya in the eastern region and adjoining communities. The worms are destroying several acres of farmlands in the area. Peasant farmers there are now apprehensive and fear the situation could further worsen. Felix Sakoyam has been to Somanya and now comes through with his report.
This is Okwenya, a village just 5 kilometers away from Somanya in the eastern region. The people here are predominantly farmers, but they are facing one of their toughest moments, if not their harshest, as farmers. It's harvest time, yet the worms destroy the corn plant by creating holes in the leaves, hindering its growth. Sam has been farming for nearly 3 decades. I follow him to his farm.
Much, the infestation is not all that much. You see these ones. You see the way it is. And this
is striking. Sam produces his maize to feed his family and livestock. He told me he has never seen any pest invasion as severe as this one.
These pests were destroying your crops.
Yeah. When the maize was coming up, then they start chopping the leaves and then going to the center of it. It retired the those which cannot go on are those short ones.
They are unable to grow.
They are unable to grow.
So
that's retarded the growth entirely.
How long will it take for a normal maize to shoot up and you get the corn from it? How long will it take for it to grow? And I mean, comparing it to what has happened now.
Normally between 6 to 8 weeks you must get it.
6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks.
It will be fully grown.
Fully grown. That about. Let's take it. Let's take it about 3 months.
3 months.
Yes, about 3 months.
It should be.
Then it should fully grown, dry.
Start harvesting.
So that you start harvesting it.
So what do we see here? How long have this been here?
This about 2.5 months.
2.5 months.
2.5 months.
So
that by now I should have even get maize from the farm.
Okay.
So after seeing this one, then I decided to take a step, because I don't know whether the spray of these chemicals and so on will be able to, curtail the insects. So I decided to do the second phase. The second phase to which I started, that is about 5 weeks now. It has attacked it, but not as severe as this.
But Sam is not the only one hit. 33-year-old Solomon Tete ventured into maize farming just this year. A newly employed teacher waiting for his first salary after 1 year. He saw in farming a safe investment to support his family. But the stark contrast of that stirred
and the maize shoot up. Then later I realized that I do visit the farm every day after work. So I realized that the leaves, something is eating up the leaves. So a colleague farmer told me that if I don't spray my farm, I won't harvest anything. So I went to the chemical shop. Then I was given one chemical to come and spray. So after spraying, the following a wife with twins. They've not yet a year old. So you can just imagine the pressure from the house, and I decided to do this, and the worms are also destroying it. So you can just imagine the
affection. Those are the other side of the road. They suffer severe.
There's any rough figure you think?
Of the people?
Yeah.
At least 5 came complaining. Even yesterday, one was also with me.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, somebody went to him.
Assembly is not always. Many farmers here are almost giving up on the fight against these worms. Grace Kwe is one of them.
Okay.
Okay. Le baka wayajwa. No wara le foi panke bamas. Ne piska. No. Wali bino wa mapie.
She said now the money itself, they don't even have it before they can say they can sow, and then he was looking at the market, the seed.
Solomon Tete, for instance, has sprayed his farm 4 times, but the worms keep against these pests have had to clear their entire maize farms, replowed and planted again. But all that has been in vain, as the worms tried on with their unyielding persistence. Apart from threatening the livelihoods of these farmers, these pests are equally posing a threat to food security within the region, as there are reports of similar pest invasion at Akuse and beyond.
You're watching news today here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. Time for updates in the world of business and sports after these messages. Now it's business time, and the Africa Center for Energy Policy (ASEP) has reiterated its call for government to establish a public register for beneficial owners of oil and gas resources to improve transparency and accountability in Ghana's industry. Beneficial owners tend to enjoy the benefits of ownership of the resources which another person legally owns. Ghana is among the 18 oil-producing countries in Africa that have not made provisions in their laws to cater for such issues. Deputy Director of ASEP, Ben Boachi, says government can lead the fight against corruption in the oil and gas sector by instituting such policies.
We have seen for revenues that comes from oil, but when it comes to the core issues of letting us know who actually owns the politicians have signed on behalf of the people, countries have not adopted that. And I think that those are important elements that we want to see going forward, that there is that greater transparency and accountability in the way we manage resources. And also community issues have not really been central to the way we manage our resources. And that is why you see, for example, in Nigeria, people attacking pipelines, communities always at war with oil companies, because their interests have always been relegated to the background. So we want to see free, prior, and informed consent being institutionalized across the region, so that communities have a say whether the resources should be exploited or not. Because once you're going to impact life, give them the opportunity to also have a voice in the way the resource is extracted.
And the CEO of the Securities and Exchanges Commission, Dr. Edouard Nanientwi, has advised all state organizations to put their houses in order if they want to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange in order to recapitalize. Dr. Nanientwi was supporting the call by the Ghana Stock Exchange's boss, Kofi Yamua, for state-owned enterprises to list on the bourse to raise capital instead of going for loans and other financial assistance from financial institutions.
We must make sure that your accounts are right. People will come and look at what is your accounts that you have prepared over the years. They have to look at that accounts. If you haven't prepared accounts before, you have to prepare. People will come and look at your corporate governance. Who are directors and who are management team in your organization? You must convince them that, yes, I have this kind of people who are in my organization. Your processes that you are using to operate, all these things you must sort that. If you are doing things that is not right, you clean them up. Okay. For example, some people may be even owing statutory deductions and others. You want to make sure that you have clear, because people will come and review your document. Lawyers will come and see whether you have complied with all legal requirements that pertains to your operation.
Okay.
The finance people also will come and go through your books to see that your accounting and provisions that you have made and projections that you have made, which is going to convince people that you have value, they can invest in that value, and you will keep on growing your budgeting, your future requirements, and your future indications of your operations capacity and your ability to return people's, use people's money to generate value.
And that brings us to the end of the midday business. Coming up next is your sport. But for more business stories, you can actually join me 1:30 on the marketplace. My name is John Kojo Amwako. That's a wrap up on news today this afternoon on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Kwabna Chenchehene. There's more news when you log on to www.myjoyonline.com. The marketplace comes up next with John Kojo Amwako. Many thanks for your company.